Over a period of time, I built up these walls in the halls of my mind. They limit my perception of how high I can climb. These walls and I, we go way back to when I first found myself penned in a crib in a creche in my first orphanage. No, my parents weren't dead, although they might have been. And ever since then, in one way or another, whether 'cause I mucked up or had a run of bad luck, I gets locked up. In kids' homes and hostels, detention centre and Borstal, Brixton to Feltham, Belmarsh to Wano, I've done them all. I'm not even bothered no more. Sometimes it's good to get away from it all. I'm like, lock me that F up and throw away the key. No, don't just chuck it, grind it up into pieces, just in case someone finds it and decides to release me. That what you call freedom, you can keep it. It's not for me, leave me be. Major or minor crime, I'll do the time. These walls and I are just fine.
DARDEST TV in association with Block 5 Entertainment, and we're back again. You know what we do, we keep it real. We're with a gentleman who's done 14 years of his life in jail. What's going on, big man? You good?
Yes, good.
Come
good,
on,
brother.
let him start with your name. What's your name?
My name's ERROL McGlashan. I've got a performance name, Uncle Errol.
So let's start with, where did it all start going wrong? Give us some of the past. What happened to you?
I know exactly when it started going wrong. Right, I grew up in care.
Yeah.
And when I was getting into trouble as a young adolescent, and that's one of the reasons why I went into a certain children's home called Denham Court, which is in Buckinghamshire. They called it a home for naughty boys. And I remember this well-meaning social worker coming up to me and said, she goes, you know, Errol, she goes, you know, people who spend their adolescence in care are 3 to 5 times more likely to go to prison than university. And I thought, okay then.
Yeah, they're sticking that on you from early.
I thought, okay then. Now the thing is, why is she telling me this? This is for them to do stuff.
Yeah, to make it not happen.
You don't say to young people, because if you say that to young people, they see it as a viable passage.
Yeah,
and I saw it as a rites of passage. I thought, okay then, that's how you become a big man. That's how you know what I mean? That's how you become adult, by going to prison.
If you say that you're the hardest, I want a real interview, then sit down with the hardest. Wash.
All right, so let him start with this. Why did you go to prison? What did you do 14 years for?
Oh, right, so I didn't get 14 in one go. So I need to make this clear,
Yeah.
There's some people who will get a life sentence. They do 14 years out of the sentence or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This wasn't my case.
No.
I'm a recidivist. I'm a repeat offender. I was getting 6 weeks here, 2 years here, 4 years, getting 4 years, coming out, and within 6 months getting another 4 years, getting 2 years there, 3 years there, then months spent on remand, you know what I mean? Sometimes bus case, sometimes big. It was a constant thing which has been going on since I was an adolescent, right up to my late 50s.
Okay,
so
and let us know then, what were your
on.
sentences for? What was your repeating for?
You know, I've got something like 75 previous convictions.
Yeah.
Name that shit, I've done it, you know what I mean?
Okay,
but I've got to tell you, all petty shit.
Yeah.
All you know, no, maybe that's a blessing. Maybe that's a blessing that I've never got done for nothing major, you know what I mean? Which has got me a massive lump. Petty shit that kept me going in and out. Petty thefts, assaults, GBH, ABH, you know what I mean? Fraud, all kinds of stupid shit that when I look at it and I just think, what was going on? It was like an obsession. Nothing to boast about, you know what I mean? I wish I could say, well, I've done this thing, you know what I mean? And I've done this lick and I made this 200 grand and I got caught for it and I got 10 years. Nothing like that, you know what I mean? I was getting done for fucking 60 quid's worth of shoplifting and being caught with a knife on me, which I used to carry the knife just so that I could, if anyone would come at me, I would just pull it. Not to stab anyone, you know what I mean? Thank God I've never stabbed anyone, but I would pull it just to stop store detectives running after me, you know what I mean? That kind of stupid shit.
So
possession of drugs. I've got one stupid little firearm offence, which wasn't even a firearm, it was CS gas. You know what I mean? Stupid shit, my brother.
All right, you tell us, what is your biggest regret in having to do them 14 years?
My biggest regret is that, you know, like when my friends and all the rest of it, and it's never too late, you know what I mean? But when my friends and all that in the adolescent years were going out to concerts, going out to, you know, I remember,
Yeah, you was missing it all.
yeah, there was a Roy Ayers concert, and I remember my friends from school, you know what I mean? We just kind of left school, and they said, yeah, we're all going to the Roy Ayers concert. I said, yeah, I'm coming. And I went to court that morning, and I got fucking ball store, you know what I mean? Little things like that which stayed in me, you know what I mean? So when all my friends were mixing with women and all the rest of it, I was mixing with man in fucking jail, you know what I mean? Trying to duck from PP9 batteries in socks, you know what I mean? And all the rest of it, you know? So there's certain things like that, and, you know, certain relationships were not developing properly because of the times I've spent in jail, you know what I mean? And even to this stage where, you know, I've got 3 daughters, you know what I mean? And my criminal behaviour, you know, I've got a brilliant relationship with them now, but it hasn't always been like
you
that.
lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into your play, I want you to tell me 2 things. What was the worst thing you ever see in prison to deter these young youths from trying to go there? What was the worst thing?
Let me tell you, right? The idea of deterrence is not a thing. I believe, this is my theory on life, right? We are here to overcome our fears. One of the things that we do as humans is the things we are scared of, and especially men, there's something we're scared of. Instead of running away from it, most men will try to face that and try to say, I'm not scared of this, I'm not scared of this. So certain people like me who grew up hearing about prison, you get to the stage where thinking, I can handle a bird, you know what I mean? I used to walk about saying, listen, I'll do a 10. I used to say, don't fuck with a man who's not scared of prison, you know what I mean? Now, I've seen some bad shit in prison, you know what I mean? I've seen a man get his head split open over half ounce of tobacco. It wasn't even half ounce of tobacco. It was a quarter ounce of tobacco, which he owed to someone, you know? So you buy the half ounce, you get the razor, cut that in half, and he owed that to someone, and he didn't pay it, and then he got double bubbled until he owes near up his whole canteen. And one day, he's just there watching TV, because in them days, you didn't have TVs in the cell, but you'd have the room, you know, the community room where there'd be a big TV, and one day he's watching the bill and someone's just coming behind him with the PP9 battery, which is a square battery in a sock, swung it and split his head open. Another time there was a guy, a dread. They heard he was a nonce. They just heard. We don't know what he was in for. He's a bit weird, a bit quiet. No one knows what he was in for. What they done was, these guys, they got the tea urn, the boiling hot tea urn, and they went up behind him and poured it over his head. You know what I mean? Little things like that. You'd think that would put people off jail. That would put some people off, but it's not going to put everyone off. Some people think,
I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for that. That ain't going to happen to me. That type of thing. In fact, I'm going to be doing that rather than that being done to me.
All right, you tell us, in all them years, what was the biggest lesson you've learned? What have you learned from all that time that you wasted? Like you said, you got 3 daughters. You're lucky to be able to have a good relationship.
I'm lucky.
Now.
I feel blessed.
You lost
that
a
I've
lot
got
of
a
time.
Relationship, you know. It's.
So what was your biggest thing you learned?
It's not an easy question to answer, because if I go and say anything, I say, avoid going to jail. Behaviour, blood clots. You know, one of the things I've learned, I'm going to tell you, now that you've asked me this question, it's a very good question. One of the things that I've learned is that I have responsibility, I have agency, and I have to exercise that. I can blame going in care, I can blame my mum, you can blame all kinds of things. You can blame the friends around you, you know. You can blame the fact that, I was in poverty, blame that you're black, blame whatever fucking reason, you know what I mean? But I've got to tell you, right, at the end of the day, me and you, everyone, you have responsibility for how you behave. You know what I mean? And you can, in spite of your circumstances, behave in a way which is more conducive to good behaviour, which is going to, you know what I mean, make you feel good about yourself and other people feel good about you.
Okay.
I've learned that lesson very late in life.
Let's get on to what you're doing now, because a lot of people come out of jail and they don't find a way. You found a way. Right now you're doing your play, you've got a book. Talk to them. What have you got?
So, you know, I've always been a performer in my head. I mean, a storyteller, you know what I mean? I've always been sort of, you know, a bit hyper, all the rest of it, you know? No one ever said to me when I was young, you should be on the stage, you know what I mean? It's only later on in life I started writing a bit of spoken word, and, you know, I'd be performing it, and it turns out I was quite good at it, you know what I mean? And I started winning awards, I started winning slams, you know what I mean? And people giving me features and all the rest of it. So, you know, So I call myself a performer. I don't call myself an actor. I've never had formal acting classes. Yeah, I've done a few bit of training, but you know, I write my own stuff and I perform my own stuff. I produce my own stuff. I put it on. You know, so you know, the play which I've literally just done now, which is called Something to Take Off the Edge, and basically it's about two cellmates, and it's all autobiographical. You know, it's about shit that's happened to me. Two cellmates, mismatched cellmates. One based on Terry, who's a friend of mine, Irish traveller background. The other person is based on me, who I call Ezra, and it's the fact that they get put in a cell together, and usually they wouldn't get on, and it's a relationship that builds up between them as they flirt with heroin, chocolate hobnobs, and Shakespeare. Because back in the 80s, you couldn't do a bit of Bird without the education department coming and shoving Shakespeare at you. And right now, if you was to Google prison and Shakespeare, you will find that there's lots of individuals or organisations taking Shakespeare into prisons to help people reflect on their lives. There's something about, you know, when you first come across Shakespeare, you think, God, what is this, you know what I mean? I can't get to language. But as you study it, it's like a flower that opens up and it suddenly starts to make sense to you. And it's a beautiful thing. So yes, I'm a performer. I'm a performer, you know. I'm going down to the Edinburgh Fringe in August. I'm memorising. My next show is called Whoever Has Ears to Hear, and it's the greatest story ever told. And whether you believe it or not, no matter what, the life and times of Jesus Christ, his life, his death, his resurrection is the greatest story ever told, regardless of whether you believe or not. It is the story above Shakespeare that has affected literature. The Holy Bible has affected literature, it's affected culture, it's affected art, it's the only thing that makes people think about their behaviour. It's the thing that makes people think about what's going to happen after all of this. What was going on before, you know what I mean? It's that sort of meta stuff which goes outside of logic, which goes out of science, you know what I mean? So whether you believe it or not, whether you have faith or not, it is the greatest story ever told. So I'm taking that to the Edinburgh Fringe. So I've memorised 11 chapters so far. I've got still 5 to learn. And
All right, you tell them, where can they find you on YouTube and what's coming up?
Okay, I've got to tell you, I'm of the age now, and I don't know if it's my age or my mentality, I don't do social media. No, I used to do it and I was on it all the time. I find myself a lot happier and healthier when I don't do it. You know what I mean? I think if people are going to come to my shows, then come to my shows. Done are the days where I used to spend the whole weekend messaging everyone, and I had thousands of people on Facebook.
But then how would we know where you're going to be?
Well, I've got people like this man over there, you know what I mean? So Josh from Creative, and there's certain people who know what I'm doing and they advertise it. But
so tell them how they can get Josh from
I can tell you, so I don't know if Josh wants to tell you himself, right? Okay. You should come around here, Josh, and just quickly say, but I will tell you that I'm going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival from the 9th to the 16th of August. And if you go on the Edinburgh Fringe website and type in either my name, ERROL McGlashan, or type in Whoever Has Ears to Hear, you will see the dates of the show coming up. And I would say that for anything because somebody's advertised it online. So if you type my name in and you want to see stuff I'm doing, plus I've got a book which is published by Insurgent Press, INSURGENT, Insurgent Press. It's the book form of my one-man show, Something to Take Off the Edge, and you can get yourself a copy of that. Josh.
I'm going to get to him. We'll do a bit with him in a sec. Let me do a couple more. I'm going to do you, big man. I want to ask you, what are you telling to any youth that's out there now and thinks he can do any kind of crime? Like you say, 14 years of your life gone.
This is a very good question, you know what I mean? The main thing is, and this is going to sound really like nothing, grow the fuck up. Seriously, I don't care if you're 12, 14, 28 or 40. We got to grow the fuck up. We got to grow the fuck up, you know what I mean? Growing up means acting in a mature way, realising that you've got certain responsibilities. You might have a dog at home, children at home, a girlfriend at home or whatever, you know what I mean? You getting locked up or getting into stupidness is putting stress on them, you know what I mean? Grow up. Grown people pay for shit.
Yeah, but let me answer that for you so you can give me a challenge.
Go.
Money's tight. Times are worse. People are hungry. Everywhere you look on media, they're telling you to get this, to get that, to get the other. What would you say to them young youths regarding them sort of things?
What, about getting the youth?
About getting, they want more, they want this, they want that.
The world is crying out for ideas and businesses.
Yeah.
And if you can put together a business, whether it's an art business, whether it's a money-making business, if you can put together a legit business, right, you can get, you know, there are organisations and their sole purpose for existing is to give you money. They give you money to do the shit you want to do, whether that be the Arts Council, you know what I mean, whether that be one of these trusts, you know what I mean. If you are doing something for the world, someone's going to pay you for that shit. Someone's going to pay you for that shit, you know what I mean, without you having to go to jail for it. I don't accept, you know what I mean, you know, a lot of people use excuses. They use poverty.
Course,
Poverty's been around from day dot. It's always going to be around. Our job is to navigate it, not use it as an excuse to do badness. Our job is to navigate that. That's like one of the puzzles of world. Right? How can we come out of this poverty? How can I make some money? Do I have to go without? There's certain things you can go without. You know what I mean? You do not need 240 quid trainers. I try not to spend more than 40 quid on a pair of trainers, you know what I mean? And that pair of trainers is going to last me a good 9 months before I buy another one. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things, you know what I mean? Don't worry about what your friends are saying. Fuck them. You know what I mean?
Do you?
Do you. And then later on, your future you. See, this is what people do not think about. There's not just you. There's a future you who later on is going to look back at you and say, thank you. Thank you for that thing that you done. Thank you that you got yourself fit. You know what I mean? That you got yourself fit, that you gave up the puff, that you gave up this and that, you know what I mean? That you stopped doing that. Because that means this me, this future me is not in jail or is not unfit or is not having to go to the hospital every minute, you know what I mean? So there's not just you, there's a future you who you have to look after. You are responsible not just for you, you are responsible for that you in 10 years' time. That you in 5 years' time, that you in 20 years' time, who's going to look back at you. And do you want the future you to look back at you and say, what were you doing? Old me, what were you doing?
Let me ask you, what areas were you from? Like when you was out here before all the prison time, what was your area?
So, you know, I was born in Paddington. When I got, I lived in Hornsey. I went to an all-boys school called Stationers, which the police used to patrol at playtimes, at break times and that. When I was 11 or 12, I moved to Hillingdon. I moved from an all-black area to an all-white area. That is when I, you know what I mean. I'm a really fast runner. I was a fast runner. You know what I mean. This was in the era of skinheads and all the rest of it.
Come on.
If a car pulled up behind me and I heard the doors open, I would sprint without even looking back, you know what I mean? Because the Skinners were looking for a man like me. I'm not claiming racism and that. Some of my best friends were white, you know what I mean? In fact, anytime I did get a fucking racist attack, it was other white people who were saving my ass, you know what I mean? So then, so I was in Hillingdon for ages. Then I got a permanent care order made when I was about 12, and that's when it all started, because they put me in a home with a load of naughty boys. And we were sniffing glue, we were shoplifting, we were fucking nicking bikes, couldn't even ride bikes, but we knew how to nick them, you know what I mean? And just getting into all kinds of fucking nonsense.
All right, so let me ask you this. While you done the prison system, the word is you done a lot of prisons. Did you bump into any of the other characters
all the time? All the time.
Like the Yammy Bees and the Buckies and...
Every time I was in jail, I would see someone who I've been in jail with, or who I was in care with, or who I've done community service with, or someone who I lived in a hostel with. Every time, and even now, because you know I'm on the other side now, so I go to prisons all the time now as a performer and as someone who runs creative writing workshops and all the rest of it, and I love my creative writing workshop. I come across people, they say, I remember you, I remember you in Ashford in '86. They just remember shit, you know what I mean? And my memory isn't good like that, you know what I mean? I can memorise loads of texts and loads of verses, but faces I'm really bad with. People remember me, you know what I mean? I bump into people all the time. Recidivists, it's like once you get a taste of it, you keep going back. Most people keep going back. As they say, you know, prison is an expensive way of making bad people worse.
You heard what the man said. This is a quick thing. Obviously, the story's long and the story's interesting. We're giving you a starter hopefully he comes back to give you the realness. So big up this gentleman. You heard what he said. Get up there and see what he's all about. The Artist TV. Young ones, do something positive with your life. One.
Dedicated to the memory of Stephen Lawrence and the one drop of blood that got his killers banged up.
We feel it in the one drop, and we still find time to rock.
Revealed in a rhythm when Bob Marley did rock steady. I'm known, I'm the beat that the drummer did drop in steady liquors with a rim shot. And didn't we all feel it in the one drop? When one was dropped into those coloured slots, one drop divided up into racial constructs, but one drop must have got into the melting pot. Yo, tell me where your people from, cause we're all freaking mixed up. Check your pedigree and I'll bet you find that one drop. Well, it was the one drop that decided whether you got a share of the pot or whether you had to leg it from the lynch mob.
We're with Josh, the man who's bringing Errol all around the way, showing him what's good, bringing him to places, getting his play out there, getting the socials up and cracking. I'll leave it over to you. What have you got for them, big man?
Okay, so we've been really fortunate to be at the Stockwell Park Community Trust this afternoon, where Errol's been putting on his one-man show. All those that attended today were just totally blown away. We found that to be the case up and down the country. So what the plan is that we're going to try and keep on the road. So anybody who's got an interest in theatre, live theatre, anyone who's got a venue that they might like us to use, you can always contact me. My name is Jos, J-O-S. My surname is Bryant, B-R-I-E-N-T. You can email me on C-R-E and the number 8, I-V-E, A-R-T-S at pm.me. So that's creative arts at pm.me. You can drop me an email, let me know what your inquiry is. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and hopefully we can keep this show on the road. Today we did it as a freebie, just to get the interest out there. But Errol is an award-winning spoken word artist. So we need to start replenishing what he's giving out. Okay, so anyway, financially we can do stuff, we're interested in talking to you. If we have to do it as a community-based thing, we're interested in talking to you. You can find me every Sunday, apart from bank holidays and that kind of thing, at Brixton Library. Okay, every Sunday I run a workshop for arts and crafts. It's a free event, you can come along, no previous experience. Every week we've got different activities based on arts and crafts we can put on for you. You've got facilitators of the highest order who will guide you through their special techniques and so on, and you'll come away with a nice vibe that you might not think you're an artist, but inside you are. So, you know, we want to encourage all of that every weekend, Sundays especially, but we are looking for other venues where we can play our trade. So again, if you've got an idea, a suggestion, it's only a talk. We can talk and see how we can take it forward.
Let me ask you a couple of little things. So in there I was listening to a couple of people speak, and they was telling me that there's poems he's done
Errol,
that are supposed to be on the YouTube or something.
absolutely. Now,
Where are we getting those?
right, where are you getting that? Again, on YouTube. What it was, if I can roll you back to around 2016, 2017,
Yeah.
I was running a little shop on Loughborough Road, again in Brixton, for those who are local. And we started off as an African arts and crafts shop, where me and my brother were buying art from Ghana, where I'm from, bringing it over to the UK, supporting the Ghanaian artists over there. So if we could bring their works over to the UK, sell their works, make a little bit of money for them, we would also be able to give them some money back to keep their interest in Ghana going. Okay, so that worked out really well, and we were going very strong. We then hooked up with a few more people who were like-minded. If I can name drop, there was Sandra Gordon and Nefertari Santois and Maurice Thompson. They joined us and we formed a collective called the GHECK Collective. And within that GHECK Collective, we were running the shop selling arts and craft, as well as putting on small events. So we had dinner parties, we had people coming to do their workshops there. And one of the other things that we did, we opened up a spoken word forum. So we had a couple of people come to MC for us, and then one night, I'd never met this guy before, guy rocks up, took his spot on stage, and he just blew the place apart with a poem that was based on the murder of Stephen Lawrence. And it was so powerful. The poem is called The One Drop. So again, you can go on YouTube, The One Drop by Uncle Errol or Errol McGlashan, whichever way he uses it. Just listen to that. And that really captured me. So that happened on a Saturday night. On the Sunday morning, my wife will testify to this, all afternoon I was just watching his clips on YouTube. So much so that she came into the other room and said, what are you doing? I said, no, you've got to sit down and listen to this, you know. And he's got a plethora of different styles and different stories to tell. So in the end, he became my MC for GHECK Collective. And he was coming along every month, introducing the poets that we had. And then unfortunately, as we all know, COVID came along, killed everything dead. So we weren't able to do it. So it's one of the things, as I said, I'm looking for venues that we can resurrect the GHECK Collective and get that spoken word thing going on again. And Errol, you know, he's going to be instrumental in that, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, one last thing. The social's big, man. You don't feel they're needed?
To be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that we do, like Errol was saying, he doesn't use social media as much as he used to.
But don't that push him a lot further if he's got that?
It could do, but what we're finding is that most of the events that we're doing live, we're getting people like yourself coming up to talk to me or Errol after the show or in the intervals or whatever it might be. And that's the way that we're generating our buzz. Because what's happening is that the people that, you can put things out on social media and yes, it goes out to the world, but it's no point telling somebody in America what we're doing here. We can't come. So I'd much prefer it, or Errol and I much prefer it, when we get face to face. I can interact with you, you interact with me, you can pick up a vibe between each other. And invariably what happens is that people say, look, you know what, this is so good. How about you doing this, that and the next thing? And that's the way that we've kept it going. And we kind of like that. Our social media probably does need to be tightened up, but it's not going to be the thing that drives us forward. You know?
You heard what the man said. Big up to this gentleman for pushing the thing and getting the brother out there, and keep supporting.
Pleasure.
And listen to what they're saying. There's no life in jail. Yeah? Do something positive with your life and build your family and the people around you that really care. The Artist TV 1.